Ever find yourself watching a game, maybe questioning a call, thinking, hey, I could do that better even?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Well, today we're tackling what it really takes to be a sports official, going beyond just yelling, that's a penalty. We've got a ton of info from RoleCatcher, and it's way more than just knowing the rules.
Definitely. It's a side of sports we think we know,
Yeah.
right? But there's so much more to it than meets the eye.
Okay, so let's break it down beyond blowing the whistle, throwing flags. What does a sports official actually do?
It's about being the guardian of the game, really. They're responsible for player safety, managing the flow, making sure everything's fair. It's about creating a positive experience, not just making sure the right team gets the win.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to put it, almost like on-field diplomats, ensuring everyone's playing by the rules. It's a lot more responsibility than most people realize just from watching on TV.
Oh, for sure. And with that responsibility comes a whole other side of things, the work environment. It's
Yeah.
not always pretty.
Yeah, it can't all be cheering crowds and stadium lights. What are some of the less glamorous aspects that Rollcatcher talks about?
Think long, irregular hours, evenings, weekends, holidays, you name it. And then there's the pressure of making split-second decisions with everyone watching, often disagreeing loudly.
Yikes, talk about a pressure cooker. So
Yeah,
you're analyzing, making judgment calls on the fly, managing players, coaches. No wonder Rollcatcher found that like 50% of officials say critical thinking is a core skill they use constantly.
absolutely. It's not just reacting to what's happening. You have to anticipate, make those tough calls, and be able to explain them clearly, even when tensions are running high.
And you can't exactly call a timeout to consult the rulebook in the middle of a game.
Exactly. It takes quick thinking, deep knowledge, and seriously good communication skills all under pressure.
So we've talked about the intensity, the pressure, the split-second decisions, but what about the flip side? What makes people want to do this, to be right there in the thick of it?
Despite the downsides, there's a real allure to officiating. You're in the heart of the action, experiencing the game from a whole different perspective. And let's be honest, for many, the dream is working up to those professional leagues, right?
Right, the bright lights.
But even beyond that, there's a huge amount of satisfaction in ensuring fair play, being a part of those electrifying moments that make sports so captivating.
So it's really about having a love for the game, thriving in that kind of high energy environment, knowing you're playing a crucial role in those moments that keep fans on the edge of their seats.
Exactly. But RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat it either.
Hmm.
They're upfront about the potential for difficult players,
Hmm.
coaches, even the risk of physical confrontations, sadly.
That's a side of it we don't often see as spectators.
It's easy to forget that officials are often on the receiving end of a lot of frustration, anger, even aggression sometimes.
So how do you handle that? What helps?
It comes back to those strong communication and conflict resolution skills. You need to de-escalate, explain your decisions clearly and calmly, maintain your professionalism no matter what.
It's like being a ref and a diplomat, all in one. So for someone listening who's still intrigued, what are the first steps? How do you even become a sports official?
Well, you're not jumping straight into the big leagues, that's for sure. RoleCatcher suggests starting small volunteering at youth leagues, joining local officiating associations. It's about getting your feet wet, learning the ropes in a less intense setting.
Like an apprenticeship for referees.
Yeah, exactly. Building a foundation, proving yourself, making those connections.
And what about the formal side of things? Are there certifications or specific qualifications?
Absolutely. It varies depending on the sport and level you're aiming for. Generally, you need to get certified through recognized officiating organizations. This usually involves exams on the rules, demonstrating your skills, sometimes even background checks.
Makes sense. Got to make sure officials know their stuff, are competent and trustworthy, right?
Exactly. And that's where those officiating associations can be so helpful. They often offer training, mentorship, pathways to get certified and move up.
So it's about those connections, that network, as much as anything.
Yeah, knowing the right people, staying up to date on rules, trends, even technology is huge now.
Speaking of which, how IS Tech changing the game for officials? Seems like a lot.
Oh, it's massive. Think instant replay, right? Revolutionized officiating for more accurate calls. But it also adds another layer of pressure. Your decisions are being analyzed frame by frame for everyone to see.
It's like every call is under a microscope.
You've got to be confident in your knowledge, judgment, and be able to explain your reasoning clearly, concisely.
The tech is here to stay. Got to embrace it.
Absolutely. Adaptability is key in this field.
So becoming a sports official, it's this mix of passion, knowledge, skills, and always evolving. For someone who wants to pursue this, what does the career trajectory even look like? Where do you start? How do you climb that ladder? It's kind of like you're building a career while also building yourself up, becoming more confident, decisive.
Right, and those are skills that translate beyond the field.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about sports, it's about life.
Exactly. Think about it. You're out there making tough calls under pressure, dealing with all kinds of personalities. You learn to think on your feet, communicate clearly, stay calm, no matter what invaluable skills anywhere.
It's true. Like, even if someone listening never becomes a ref, just thinking about the world through that lens, fairness, objectivity, making the call even when it's tough.
It changes your perspective, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting about RoleCatcher diving deep into this. It's not just a niche career path. It's a whole way of approaching the world. And that's pretty cool.
So, as we wrap up here, any final thoughts for someone who's maybe feeling that spark, that pull towards officiating?
I'd say go for it. It's challenging, rewarding, and you might just surprise yourself.
And hey, if you're not quite ready to don the stripes yourself, we've all become armchair referees at some point, right? Maybe this deep dive gives us all a little more understanding, a little more appreciation for what those folks in black and white go through out there.
Totally. A little empathy goes a long way, especially in the heat of the game.
Couldn't agree more. Big thanks to RoleCatcher for the incredible insights. Be sure to check them out for a ton of resources, whether you're considering officiating or just want to up your career game in general.
They've got it all. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.